I was on Instagram scrolling like everybody else, and I see this clip of Surya Bonaly, the ice skater, and she was doing that 1 foot backflip on skates. And if you've never seen it, you don't even understand what kind of athleticism that is. The crowd is losing their mind because what she did is really iconic. But then she gets penalized. And the part that got me, it wasn't even the penalty. It was watching them give her second place. And you can see on her face that she was trying to keep it together. But the tears are falling, and she didn't even want to stand on the number 2 spot. And I swear to you, the second I saw that, my stomach dropped because I was like, yep, I know that feeling. Because that clip, it didn't just remind me of unfair judging, it reminded me of being young. And I was working my tail off, doing everything right, and still watching somebody move the goalpost at the last minute, not because I did not deserve it, but because I did not look like what they wanted first place to look like. And I'm going to tell you exactly what happened because this was one of those moments that shaped how I define success and even how I define beauty. So, story time. Back in Haiti, I went to this 2 year business school and it was very intense. The curriculum was no joke because we had like 13 subjects: accounting, languages, typing, all of it. And it was actually built, the curriculum was built to train you to run offices, manage people, be an executive type. And the school only accepted 30 students. So just getting in, it meant that you were already competing. And everybody there was smart. Everybody there had something to prove. And that school also had a reputation for who gets to be the top student. And they all had a particular look and a particular skin tone. And here's the part that still makes me shake my head to this day. Haiti is overwhelmingly Black, like the majority of the country is dark skinned. But the elite class, especially in certain spaces, was very much tied to skin tone and, looking a certain way. So the school had this unspoken pattern where the valedictorian almost came from a certain group. And the message was very clear: people who look like me, you don't get that title. And I remember when I heard that story when I got into school, and I'm sitting there, dark skin, natural hair, minding my business, and I'm hearing these stories like, okay, that's what y'all think. And I have to tell you this part because this is something that really matters. And at that time, I was wearing my hair like Grace Jones, low cut, bold, because I remember when I first saw Grace Jones on TV, I was blown away. I was like, wait, she looks like me. A dark skinned Black woman on screen, not trying to be palatable. She's not trying to soften herself. And she's just powerful. And that's also because a lot of what I was seeing on TV in Haiti back then, it was either white or Black people who were light enough to pass for white. So Grace Jones for me was representation. And she was like proof that, like, hey, Webley, you're not ugly, you're not less than, you're not too dark, and you're not too Black. So yeah, I cut my hair. And that act of me cutting my hair was also that rebellion. It was my rebellion. It was me reclaiming myself in a way. My mom was pissed off, by the way. So I didn't say anything out loud to my classmates, but I remember making a quiet pact with myself. And it was something like, yeah, not while I'm here, not while I'm in the school. If anybody is going to finish at the top, it's going to be me. And I took that personally. And for 2 years, I worked like I had something to prove because I really had something to prove. And I was aiming for the highest score in as many of those 13 subjects as possible. And I'm talking about the kind of work where my classmates, when they were hanging out during lunchtime, I was in the typing room practicing. And we didn't have computers like we do today. So we were actually using like those old big typewriters. So while people were eating lunch, I'm in the typing room, I'm working on my speed. And what's funny is that after a while, other students, they started doing it too because they saw my results. So even then, I think that I was unknowingly leading just by doing what I had to do. So by the time that we got to the end of the 2 years, I scored the highest in 11 out of the 13 classes. 11. And there was another student, the lighter skin that could pass for white girl. She scored higher than me in only 2. So in my mind, I'm like, the numbers are the numbers because I'm not talking about vibes here. I'm talking about grades. So I'm thinking, cool, that's that, there's no reasoning here. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. And then right before the graduation, I remember that the principal approached me. The principal was a nun and a white American woman. She comes to me privately, like, I don't know, maybe for her, she thought that she was doing me a favor. And then she says to me, Webley, I have bad news for you. You are not the valedictorian. And I remember looking at her like, what are you talking about? Because how do you tell someone who scored highest in 11 out of 13 subjects that they are not the top student? So without any hesitations, I asked her, then, okay, who is the valedictorian then? And she says it was the other student. And I'm not going to lie, something in me snapped, but I stayed calm and I told her straight, no, that's impossible. You can announce whoever you want, but I know what I earned. And she basically hits me with, well, just accept it. She said it like that was supposed to make it okay, you know? And now listen, I need to give my classmates at the time credit. And I'm giving them credit now too. Because I remember every single one of them, they knew the truth. And they also had my back. And I remember at the ceremony, they had me come up and stand there, on the podium in front of everybody while they announced the awards. And it got almost ridiculous because they had to keep calling my name, valedictorian in this subject, Webley, valedictorian in that subject, Webley. And they had to do this 11 times. And I remember the whole crowd, my classmate and their family, they were clapping for me. And in that moment, it did soften the blow a little because I felt seen. And I felt like, okay, at least people know what happened. But at the same time, I was still standing there like, how on earth are we doing all of this and still pretending that I am not the actual valedictorian? I mean, are you guys serious? Because here's what people don't understand. That title, it wasn't just ego. That title actually came with real benefits. That title opened a lot of doors, doors to top jobs, the best positions in the country. When I say the best, and the top paying ones too. So when those job requests they came in, the valedictorian would get first dibs. So it wasn't just, oh, they gave her a label, she's a valedictorian. This was, they gave her opportunities that my work earned. And that was the part that stayed with me because that's what racism and colorisms do. They don't just insult you. They like reroute your entire future. Now, something happened about 2 years ago, and that part is still feels surreal to me to this day. A couple of years later, my mom, she was coming to visit me in the United States, and she brings me a letter. Turns out the school wrote me an apology because there was a new principal that came in, and that principal was a Black nun this time. And for some reason, I guess what happened to me stayed on her heart. And she went back and she recalculated everything. She did the math. I'm talking forensic level math. And what she found was that the other student's mom, who was actually a teacher at the school, and she had been giving her daughter extra points. So the way she did it, it wasn't enough to look obvious in each assignment, but it was enough to rig the final outcome. So the school fired that teacher, of course, and they wrote me a formal apology saying that what happened was an injustice. And I remember reading that letter and feeling two things at the same time. On one side, I felt vindicated because I wasn't crazy. I mean, come on, 11 topics, 11 subjects out of 13, okay? And on the other side, I was heartbroken because that apology, it did not give me back what I lost at the time. And that mattered. And that's why that Surya clip, it hit me so hard because I know what it's like to work for something and still have someone say, yeah, but we're giving it to somebody else. And later in life, I realized that this wasn't just something that happens in Haiti. In America, I experienced versions of that too. It was like a different setting, but it was the same energy. And the goalposts, they just keep moving. As you get closer, it keeps moving. The rules keeps changing. And I knew then, because I was in my late 20s, I had to make a decision. Because if I kept chasing success by their definition of success, I was just setting myself up to leave disappointed for a very long time. So I decided that I don't think that I want to live by rules that were never designed to include me in the first place. And in the first place. So not for success, not for beauty, not for merit, not for what is considered professional, and not for what's considered worthy, you know, because I started noticing that even beauty standards here, they were not built with women who look like Grace Jones in mind. They weren't built with women who look like me. And I am not going to spend my life auditioning for acceptance. I've been done with that a long time ago. So yeah, colorism robbed me of first place, but it also gave me something. It forced me to stop letting other people define what I am worth. And I want and with that, I want to ask you something because I know that I'm not the only one with a story like this. So here's my question to you. Have you ever had a moment where you realized, oh, the rules are different for me? And if you did, um, how did how did it shape your definition of success? How did it shape how you see yourself? How did it affect even what you accept and what you refuse to chase in this American dream? So drop it in the comments because I really want us to talk about this like adults, not like it's some personal insecurity issues. Because when you look at it, a lot of this is structural, a lot of this is cultural, and a lot of this is systemic. And it's real. So with that, my name is Webley. I am on this consistency journey to show up on YouTube for 100 days. Today is day 42. And if you are in this journey with me, thank you for watching again. And if this is your first time watching me, I'm asking you to subscribe because I will be back tomorrow for day 43.